السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today it is Thursday, the 28th of Sha'ban, 1446, matching the 27th of February 2025. This is our 7th session going through this book, الصلاة مفتاح النجاة, the prayer, the key to salvation. And we are at أركان الصلاة. And he says أركان الصلاة 14. So there are 14 pillars of the Salah. Once again, usually, as I said, he is quoting from the Hanbali books of fiqh. So we will just go with the way he's doing it, and mostly they agree generally. In some areas maybe they don't. I mentioned some of this before with the other fara'id and for wudu and other than that. Anyhow, أركان الصلاة. First one is القيام مع القدرة, standing along with ability. So standing, that's if you are able, that's what it means, مع القدرة. If you cannot stand, then you cannot stand. القيام, standing, مع, with, القدرة, ability, standing with ability. If you are able to stand, then you must stand. This is an issue now with the seats and the sitting and the chairs. After the chairs got widespread, now everybody is sitting on the chair. And you can see, like our place here, they come down from the stairs, they go up the stairs, but then in the salah they are sitting. How is that? I don't know how that is. I understand it for some of them, because the issue is the bending or going down, or could be with the knee if it's, but anyways, it is kind of strange to see people, nothing wrong, they're standing, but then in the salah all the way they are sitting. I don't, many people take it easy, and many questions from the brothers who drive around the taxi and all of that. Can I pray sitting in the car? Why would you pray sitting in the car? Because what, can't you go out and pray outside in the street? Yeah, but no masjid around. Why you need the masjid for? You can pray anywhere, a parking lot, a gas station, park, right? But the floor, you just take a tarp with you. You don't, I don't have a mat. You take with you a mat, put it in the trunk of the car. Just anything you pray on. It doesn't have to be a prayer mat. It's just a tarp or something like that, and you pray wherever you are. So standing is a pillar. If you miss out on it while you can do it, we're talking about the fard salah now, because the voluntary salah you can sit, but you get half the reward of the one who's standing. But the farida salah, you have to stand. If you are able, you have to stand. And if you can stand sometimes and you cannot other times, then whenever you can stand, you must stand. And when you can't, you can't. For instance, takbiratul ihram, if you are able to stand to do takbiratul ihram, And then after that, you cannot remain standing for 3 or 4 minutes until they recite Surah Al-Fatiha, until they recite the second surah. You must stand and do the takbir. Then after that, when you need to sit, sit. But some people, they are able to stand to do Takbiratul Ihram, but they sit from the beginning. They put the chair and they do Takbiratul Ihram sitting. That's, you are able to stand. Why did you sit? You only sit when you cannot sit. Number 2, Takbiratul Ihram, the opening takbir, the inaugural takbir, Allahu Akbar, which you start with. That's from the pillars. So if you forgot to do that, as I mentioned yesterday, you come, you are late, you rush, right? You just go with them in the sujood or in the ruku'. What happened? Where is Takbiratul Ihram? You have to do Takbiratul Ihram and you have to do it standing too. Many would do Takbiratul Ihram while going to ruku' or sujood, like leaning. You have to do Takbiratul Ihram standing. Then you go down. So if you missed out on Takbiratul Ihram, the whole salah has to be repeated. Number 3, Qira'atul Fatiha, the recitation of Al-Fatiha. This is now if you are the Imam and if you are praying by yourself, you recite Al-Fatiha. If you are a Ma'moom praying behind the Imam, then there is that discussion. But if it is an out loud salah and the Imam gave you time, or you want to be outside of the difference of opinion, then just recite Al-Fatiha. But if the Imam gave you the time, then recite. Because some of them recite Al-Fatiha, then they pause. Although this is not like a sunnah, but then if they do that, you recite in that pause. And it is authentically narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that he used to do that. He would pause. So if the Imam gives you that, you recite in between. Or if you are in the masjid and you are praying far away, or the masjid is big where the loudspeakers, they don't reach. You can't hear Al-Fatiha. You can't hear the recitation of the Imam. Then you recite for yourself. That's Qira'atul Fatiha. But the Fatiha is the mother of the book. No prayer for the one who does not recite the mother of the book. So there is a big, issue with the Al-Fatiha. When you are praying behind the Imam, then there is that discussion whether you should recite or you shouldn't. You should listen, and there are hadith on both sides. Number 4, Ar-Ruku', the bowing. That's one of the pillars of the salah. So if you, let's say someone, he recited the surah and the Fatiha, and then he forgot the ruku', he went to the sujood, right? That rak'ah doesn't count. He has to go back and do the ruku' and then continue. But if he finished the rak'ah and he started the second rak'ah and he remembered that the ruku' he didn't do it, then that first rak'ah is cancelled and the second one becomes the first one. Why? Because the ruku' is a pillar, one of the main components of the rak'ah. Number 5, ar-raf'u minhu, rising up from the ruku'. When you rise up and you stand completely, that is one of the pillars of the salah. So if someone did not perform it, or he did not completely stand, as some people will do that, they will just rise up a little bit and they don't stand up completely. They just raise their heads a little bit and then they go down to the sujood. That rak'ah is gone. They have to stand up completely. Number 6, as-sujudu ala al-a'da'i as-sab'ati, prostration over the 7 body parts. This is the forehead and the nose. They are considered one thing. Forehead and the nose, as in the hadith, because he mentioned the 7, and when he counted them, he pointed to the head, to the forehead and the nose. and the two hands, the two knees, and the 2 feet, right? So two, 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 and the last one is the nose and the forehead. 7 body parts. All of these must be on the ground. And some people, they will raise up their feet while they are on the ground. Their feet, they do not touch the ground. This is now, they have an issue there. I mean, there are discussions, of course, in those within the fiqh books. There are discussions. Is the nose, if you do the forehead only without the nose, is this, what? But there is a discussion. Even the other body parts. But I mean, this is what he mentions here, so we'll go what he says. Hmm?
There is a gap between feet during the sujood.
The gap is not from the pillars, and they will discuss whether it is a sunnah or not. But the thing is, they have to be on the ground. They have to touch the ground. Sometimes people go down to sujood and they raise up their feet high, and then quickly they don't have their feet on the ground. That's an issue there, because they are missing out on one of the body parts that we are supposed to have on the ground. Number 7, al-i'tidalu minhu, to rise up, stand up, sit up, back, straight from the sujood. And the same, some people, they will do just halfway and then go back to the sujood again. They will not sit completely. You have to sit up completely from the sujood. Otherwise, this one pillar is gone from the rak'ah, and therefore that rak'ah is null and void. طيب. Then الجلسة بين السجدتين. So you have to rise up, and then you have number 8 to sit up in between the 2 prostrations. Even for a moment, right? And according to this, as we will see, he says you have to say Rabbi Ghfirli at least 1 time, right? And this Rabbi Ghfirli is from the wajibat, obligatory things, not from the pillars. But then you have to sit a little bit. If you don't sit, then you are missing out on one of the pillars. Number 9, at-tuma'ninatu fi jami'il arkan. Tuma'nina is to be peaceful, tranquil in all of the pillars. To remain still, to remain stable in that position. In all of these pillars. In all of these pillars. You cannot be quick in a way that you don't be still in that position. Each position you have to remain in it calmly. Number 10, at-tartibu, the order. So ruku' has to be before the sujood, right? The qira'ah has to be, the recitation has to be before the ruku'. You do the rak'ah in order. You cannot, do the rak'ah in a different order. You start with sujood, then ruku', then the recitation. You cannot do that. It has to be in the same order that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed. Number 11, at-tashahhud al-akhir, the last tashahhud, that is a pillar according to what the Sheikh mentions here. And as I mentioned, there are discussions, but then we'll just go with, because it's not our intention to go through the details of the fiqh of salah, because that's a big subject. So the last tashahhud is one of the pillars. If you notice, the last tashahhud, at-tashahhud al-akhir, not the middle one. The middle tashahhud will come in the wajibat, right? The obligations. So at-tashahhud al-akhir, the last one, is a pillar. Number 12, al-julusu lahu, to do that tashahhud, تحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله, that tashahhud, you have to do it. It's a pillar. If you miss out on it, one pillar is gone from the salah, and it will be null and void according to this. Next is al-julusu lahu. You have to say it, that tashahhud, you have to say it while sitting for it. Number 13, الصلاة على النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. And now you have a printing mistake there. That غين نبي, that shouldn't be there. The غين, I circle it. الصلاة على النبي. الصلاة على النبي is one of the pillars of the salah, according to this. Of course, other madhabs, they don't consider that a pillar. And this is one of the things that, those mashayikh, they say, because they accuse them, they say, you Najdis, Wahhabis, this, you hate you hate the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say, how can we, when we say Salah ala Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is one of the pillars of the Salah, and you don't consider it a pillar. Yani if someone made Salah and did not say Salah ala Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the others, they will consider the Salah valid. But for them, they consider it to be from the pillars of the Salah. So how come you accuse us like that? This is one of the things that they use to defend themselves. But then there is a discussion on this issue, whether it is a pillar or just, a wajib, or is it a recommended thing. But according to the list of the Sheikh here, الصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, which is اللهم صل على محمد وعلى, that's صلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and there is the least of it that should be said. That's one of the pillars. So if someone prayed according to this, and he did the tashahhud, but he forgot as-salah, he forgot as-salah ala nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and made salam from that. What's the ruling of that salah? He left, and he has to repeat that salah, because that salah is missing the salah ala nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 14, and this is now we're talking as-salah ala nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the last tashahhud, not the middle one, the last tashahhud. Number 14, at-taslimatan. At-taslimatan, the two salams, right? So they consider that from the pillars of the salah. So these are 14 pillars, and we mentioned before that the pillar, if you miss it, then that salah is gone, and is null and void. Next he says واجبات الصلاة ثمانية. The obligations, things that are compulsory in the salah, they are 8. And according to what the Sheikh mentioned to us yesterday, if you deliberately miss an obligation, if you deliberately miss something that is compulsory, then the salah is null and void. Right? Salah is null and void according to this. This is the position of the Hanbali madhab, of course. So what are the wajibat according to this position, or this what the Sheikh mentions here? He says جميع التكبيرات غير تكبيرة الإحرام. All of the sayings of Allahu Akbar, when you move from one position to another, you say Allahu Akbar. All of them are wajib, compulsory, except for other than takbiratul ihram, the opening takbir, the inaugural takbiratul ihram. That one is a pillar. If it's not there, salah is gone. But those other takbirat, when you go from the qira'ah, you say Allahu Akbar, then you go to ruku', you say Sami Allah liman hamida Rabbana wa lakal hamd, then Allahu Akbar, you go down to sujood, Allahu Akbar, you sit, Allahu Akbar, you go down to sujood. All of these takbirat in between, they are from the wajibat, compulsory things. So if someone deliberately missed on purpose, he missed the takbir, his salah is gone, right? According to this. Now, of course, there is the other position that those takbirat are only recommended, mustahab. In that case, it is not. قول سمع الله لمن حمده للإمام والمنفرد. Saying سمع الله لمن حمده, Allah responds to the one, Allah replies. سمع means to hear, to listen. But it could mean also, like in English, it means to obey, to respond. Right? سمع الله لمن حمده, Allah responds to the one who praises him. This is also from the compulsory things for the Imam and for the one who is praying by himself, al-munfarid. So if you notice here, he says that the one who is praying behind the Imam, he doesn't have to say Sami Allah liman hamida. According to this, what does he say? He says Rabbana wa lakal hamd, according to this. And this, we had a discussion on that before, and the madhab of Imam al-Shafi'i, that, and other scholars of hadith, that even the one who's praying behind the Imam, he also says Sami Allah liman hamida while standing up, and then Rabbana wa lakal hamd after he stands up. But there is a difference of opinion in that. But here, according to this, Sami Allahu liman hamida is a must to say for the one, for the Imam, and for the one who is praying individually by himself, not the ma'mum. قول ربنا ولك الحمد للجميع. Saying, our Lord, and to you belong all the glory and praise. That's for all. Yani Imam, the one who's leading the prayer, Ma'mum, the one who is Muqtadi, the one who is praying behind the Imam, and the one who is praying by himself, all alone by himself. Next is قول سبحان ربي العظيم في الركوع. Saying سبحان ربي العظيم in the ruku'. And they say at least one time, right? One time is a must. More than that is recommended, but at least one time. Next is قول سبحان ربي الأعلى في السجود. Saying سبحان ربي الأعلى in sujood, in prostration, at least one time. Next is قول رب اغفر لي بين السجدتين. Oh Allah, forgive me between the two prostrations, at least one time. Number 7, التشهد الأول, the first tashahud. This is when you have a salah that has 3 rak'at or 4 rak'at. Right? So you have first tashahud and you have second tashahud. The last tashahud, which is was mentioned from the pillars. That is a pillar. But the tashahud al-awwal, the first tashahud, is from the compulsory things according to this. Of course, the others, they view it to be a recommended thing. But for this position now that is mentioned, tashahud al-awwal is a must. Meaning, if you miss it deliberately, salah is null and void. But if forgetfully, then you can fix it. You can fix it, as we will come with when we talk about sujood al-sahw, prostration of forgetfulness. So at-tashahhud al-awwal is compulsory. Number 8 is al-julusu lahu, to sit for the first tashahhud, is also one of the compulsory things. So you cannot just say the tashahhud, the middle tashahhud, while you are, going up from the sitting. You are going up, you don't sit for it. You have to sit to do the first tashahhud. That's from the compulsory things in salah. We will stop here, inshallah. We'll call the adhan and pray Isha. And then after that, we continue with min makruhat as-salah, from the things that are disliked in the salah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Allah